Hello and welcome to this Friday's Facebook Live with me, Louisa Whitney from LKW Family Mediation. And before I get into the subject of today's Facebook Live, our new blog series, I just wanted to apologise that I have not publicised this week. I am currently working on some resources that will be for anybody going through a separation that you will be able to download and work through yourself. And that is taking up quite a lot of time, which means that other things like social media and admin have slid down my pile a bit. Although I have some support that I work with, there's just me employed in the practice. So it does mean that everything falls on my shoulders. I really wanted to explain a little bit. I can't talk too much about the resources yet, but for some time I have been very conscious that there are people going through a separation who are really struggling financially, and they would like to be able to access professional support but feel that they just can't afford it. And I've spoken to quite a lot of people in that category on the phone, and I know it anecdotally from talking to other professionals as well. So it's been at the back of my mind of how I can provide a service that would help with that for a little while. And as with all things, you have to plant the seeds of an idea and let it grow and nurture it, which is what I feel I've been doing. And I am hoping that this will be live before the summer. If you would like information about this so that you can either use it or share it with friends and family that are going through a separation, or pass it on to your clients because you feel it's a resource that would be useful to them or for people that you come into contact with as a professional, then the easiest way to stay up to date with what's happening at LKW Family Mediation is to go on our mailing list, because then you get an update straight into your inbox. It's only twice a month. We're not going to inundate you. So if you're someone who is going through a separation or supporting someone going through a separation, then you can sign up to our mailing list by going to bit.ly/LKW Fam Med list. And if you're a professional that supports individuals or couples who are going through a separation, then you can sign up for our mailing list by going to bit.ly/LKW Fam Med sign up. And that will keep you up to date. As I say, it will go directly into your inbox. Or you can always follow us on social media, either through Facebook, which you're watching this now on our Facebook page. And if you like that page, it means that you will get up to date when we've posted. Or if you felt able to share it so that other people could be reached by it, that would be amazing. Or we're on Twitter, LKW Fam Med, or I'm on LinkedIn, me, Louisa Whitney. We also have a YouTube channel that you can find by going through our website. Or we also have a Pinterest page, and that is quotes from our blog along with useful information that we found that may help if you're finding that a particular issue that we blog about each week is resonating for you. You will often find that there is resources, support, or a bit of inspiration on the Pinterest page. And again, you can access that through our website, lkwfamilymediation.co.uk. So on Monday, a new blog went live in a new series. And if you've been following what I do online for a little while, you'll know that I've been trying to group blogs into themes over the course of a month, posting a new blog every week, dealing with a different aspect of that theme. And what that does is it enables me to talk about an issue in a little more detail and to also look at it from different angles. And then I do the Friday Facebook Live where I can talk in a bit more detail, or you can just watch the Facebook Live if you're more of a sort of visual video person rather than a reading blog type person. So the new series of blogs is focusing on arranging school holidays. And that can be something that is a difficulty for parents who have separated. And it can be a difficulty for all kinds of reasons. And this week, I've been talking about why it's important to start arranging those, why it's important to start making the arrangements early. And by early, I mean, ideally, you have already started, because we are nearly in the middle of May. And it won't be too long before we have slid down that last bit of the school year to find ourselves in the school holidays. So why is it important to start now? Well, firstly, it can be really complicated. If both of you as parents work, you've got to coordinate annual leave. And if you have a sort of fairly usual annual leave holiday limit, then it's unlikely that you will both be able to take off half of all of the school holidays, which means that you will need some other options to kind of fill the gaps. Children tend to get about 13 weeks school holiday a year, more if you are at a private or independent school. For most people, they get around 5 weeks annual leave a year. So even if each of you devote the whole of your annual leave entitlement to looking after your children, that still may not be enough to cover it. So that means that you need to ensure that you've worked out other options for what happens on days when neither of you can have your children with you. And that might include asking friends to kind of swap about a bit and help each other out, or it might be asking family members, or it might be using paid for childcare that's either provided sort of on the site where your children go to school or in other clubs that are offered at leisure centres and other schools or other places. And all of that can be quite a logistical challenge in working out when you can each have holiday, what the children are going to do on the days when they're not with either of you, who's going to drop them off, who's going to pick them up. Do you have an arrangement in place about who pays for the childcare? Is it the responsibility of the parent who is having the children at that time? In which case, are the arrangements you've got in place for the holidays working for you? Sometimes parents can make arrangements when one of them isn't working, and then that parent goes back to work, and that means you might need to rejig the holiday arrangements to ensure that you can work out what's going to work for you and for your children, both on an emotional level of ensuring that what's happening is okay with everybody and they feel secure with it, but also on a practical level. Is it possible that you can drop children at childcare, or is it possible that you can take 3 weeks holiday in the summer? All of these things represent practical and logistical difficulties that you need to work out in some way. Excuse me. In fact, I'm just going to have a quick drink of water. Pardon. That's better. So firstly is because it's complicated, and when things are complicated, they often take a little more time to resolve. The second reason is that where you've got a bit more time, it enables you to resolve things in a more leisurely fashion. Where you feel that you've only got 2 weeks to resolve this whole issue of what happens in the next 6 weeks, that can bring a pressure with it that's not always conducive to constructive conversation. We all know as humans, we do not have our best and most meaningful interactions with other people when we're feeling stressed and panicked. It also means that if you haven't left very much time to arrange them, that if you feel that the conversation is getting a little bit tense and that you're both feeling a bit cross with each other, and both of you might be feeling that the other person is not hearing you, then it can be helpful to have the space to take a bit of time and go away from each other and continue the conversation in a few days or a week. And if you've got the time before the holidays, it means that you have got the space to have that moment to breathe and to try to rejoin the conversation when you're feeling a little bit calmer or a bit less stressed. So that can be quite a useful tool in discussing things that may be complicated or complex, or just a bit of a trigger. Sometimes holiday arrangements can trigger all kinds of issues between a couple that have separated. These can be emotional. There can be issues where one person feels they always have to do more of the looking after of the children than another one, and they may feel resentful about that. Or it can be that one person feels they would really like to spend more time with their children during the holidays, and they're not able to, either because of working arrangements or because of the fact that you've got yourself into a pattern that historically you haven't seen the children as much. So there can be an awful lot of emotional issues that surround these kind of arrangements. And I would encourage you both to be sensitive to those issues, both in yourselves and checking in with yourself, that if you feel a really strong reaction when somebody says something, why is that? What is it about what they've just said that really has made you go from 0 to 60 in a nanosecond? What is the fear there? Because usually that relates to a fear about something, or you're tripping on something that is something that's very raw for you. So I would really encourage you to think about that and reflect on yourself to try and work out what that is. I would also encourage you to be sensitive to what the other person is feeling. When relations between a separating couple are difficult, there can be a tendency to see the problem as the other person rather than an external problem that needs to be resolved. And so that can mean that you look at the problem and think, oh, they're just being difficult. Oh, why can't they just take that second week off? You know, they keep saying that they can't take the time off, but I know they've had other holiday. And you're essentially telling yourself that the whole problem is the other person, rather than looking at it as you need to work together to resolve this issue that you both have about arranging summer holiday logistics. And think about how the other person may be feeling. Maybe they are feeling a bit caught between lots of different things. It can be really hard trying to keep your employer happy, not being off too much, keep any new partners happy. You know, you may want to spend some time with a new partner, but you feel that you also want to spend time with your children, and people can feel a bit caught between lots of different pressures. There can also be regret around the separation, around the way that it was dealt with, around the relationship with children, lots and lots of things. So I would really encourage you to be sensitive to how the other person may be feeling. The other thing is that if you have started early, then you're leaving yourself plenty of time to deal with it becoming really difficult, or you both hitting an impasse or a wall where you are not able to resolve things. And I will come on to in this series of blogs what happens if you've hit a wall and you are disagreeing either about the level of time that each parent has with the children over the holidays, or with your children over the holidays, or you're disagreeing about a bigger issue such as whether one parent is able to take the children abroad, or whether there are issues relating to a specific country that one person feels will be safe and the other parent feels may not be safe for whatever reason. But at the moment, I just wanted to reinforce the point that if you do hit an impasse or a wall, you've got more time to deal with that if you have started trying to sort out the arrangements as early as possible. And as early as possible means different things to different people. You know, I have worked with couples who at the start of September agree exactly what's happening with all holidays for the next academic year. I have also worked with parents where that is completely impossible because the annual leave restrictions mean that they're not able to book that holiday further as far in advance as that, or they run their own business and they have to kind of work out nearer the time what work's coming in and whether they will be able to take that time off. So your arrangements will be different depending on your circumstances. And there's no rule that says you have to agree all school holidays to start off with. But I would encourage you both to think about how early you are able to talk about each holiday or talk about a set period of time, so that you are making those arrangements in advance wherever possible. And sometimes there can be a frustration with your situation that it is what it is and that it's not different. And that can be especially so where you talk to friends and you can see that your friend has got a spreadsheet who's got all of the holidays on it mapped out, and they've got that certainty and you don't have that certainty. Your situation is what it is, and there are sometimes conversations to be had about how you can improve things, improve communication, how you deal with things. But sometimes you are stuck with the realities of a situation. If one person can't request annual leave in advance of, more than a set period of time, or one person has very clear rules on how much annual leave they're allowed to take, and neither of you have any plans to move jobs, then there may be very little that you can do with that situation, and that can be frustrating. But if that's the situation you're in and you have to accept it, then there may be some conversations to be had either with yourself or with the other person about how you can accept that and how you can best work together given that limitation. So I hope that this has been helpful in starting off this series of blogs talking about school holidays. As I said before, if you would like to sign up to our mailing list, then please do that via the links. It's bit.ly/LKW Family List. If you are someone going through a separation or supporting someone going through a separation, and if you're a professional that works with separating couples or individuals, then it's bit.ly/LKW FamMed sign up. And as I said earlier, you will get the details of when those online downloadable resources will be available through that mailing list. I hope that you have a good weekend. I will be back next Friday with another Facebook Live, and look out for the next blog in this series that will be landing on Monday. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.